Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Rob, and today is one of those days when something can go wrong, it will go wrong, and we're stuck fixing things. So right behind me, I have this beautiful M-Series Onsrud CNC, and unfortunately this morning, my CNC operator was running it. You know, nothing out of the ordinary happened. It ran a program, and then when it went to park a tool, it crashed. And I mean, it hit my toolbar pretty hard. It made a loud noise, and it appeared that it moved my tool rack pretty substantially. I have no idea why that happened, because it was running smoothly on all tools this morning, and it just happened. I do know that the neighbors hit a gas line last night, and as a result, the gas company actually cut the gas to the building, so we did get below zero last night. So it was very cold when we came in. We tried to heat the place up, so I really have no idea if that was a factor or not. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to put whatever else I had to do today on pause, and we're going to try to fix this machine. I got to get it running, and I'm going to kind of walk you through it with me so that way you can kind of see what I have to do on my day-to-day to get these machines running. I'm by no means a tech, so this is not, you know, I'm not making this video for the purpose of anyone to follow along with me exactly, because I don't want to be responsible for anything. You know, anybody wrecking their machines or anything, because they're expensive. So let's get into this and see what we can do to get it back running. All right, so I'm not able to, I got another error, and it shut my machine down over the tools. And right now I'm not able to engage my servo motors to move it. But if I notice that, if I look at the clearance here on this side versus the clearance over here, I'm definitely out of alignment. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna actually reset the X and U motor. So I'm gonna get inside the cabinet. I'm going to power the machine up, and I'm going to undo the power cables to the motor so I can easily move this gantry, and we're going to go all the way down to the end of the table against the hard stops on the other side, and then I'm going to reset, I'm going to get it in line, and then we're going to reset the 0 points.
Now that bar's not going to tip over at all, right?
The bar?
Screws unloosened, so like it should be good, right? Or do you think I should put those screws a little bit back in?
It's tight on the left side, right?
Yeah, it's
all right, that's all right. So
all that whole rest of the bar is unloosened.
So here's my FANUC control. So these are my motor power cables. So I'm actually I got the machine off. So I'm gonna undo that one, and if you kind of keep them separated so you know which ones, this is the back. That's my front cable, and now we should be able to easily push the machine. All right, so gently push it all the way to the end. So we should be able to pull this thing. What I'm going to do is we're going to pull it so it's even against the hard stops on both sides. So I'm hitting there, and I'm hitting there. Okay, so I've got these pulled all the way against the hard stops. So I'm going to come to the middle, and I'm going to gently push this guy to the center. Rear motor, okay, and our front motor. All right, now we're going to power this back on, and What I'm doing primarily is I want to be able to power up my servo motors, and so that's going to be my first goal, because without the servos, you know, you can't really move it to go to the next step. So we're going to come to the hand pad here, and we'll see if we can get it to fire up. So I've got power again, but now I'm getting a new error that's saying the battery's low, which I know that. I've got new batteries coming. So let's see if we can get the servos to fire up. Alright, so okay, so servos are still not wanting to fire. So I'm still getting that access sync error. So if we take a look here, I can see that my X motor is slightly off from my U motor. So until I get those in line, it's not going to fire up. All right, so I think I did something out of order. So I had to I had to power the machine down, unplug the motor cables. I brought the gantry all the way to the front again, where I'm against both hard stops. And I think before I push it into the center, I need to reset the X and the U motors in the FANUC, so that way they're both zeroed out with each other. So I'm going to do that now. So now that it is now that we're against the hard stops, I'm going to plug those cables back in. We're going to fire it up, and then we're going to clear out the X and the U. What we're going to do, we still have this sync alignment error. So I'm going to turn off this light. I'm going to go into system. We're going to go to parameter, and we're going to go to 1815. I'm going to hit input. Up, I've got to be in manual data input mode. Still giving me the format error, so I'm in MDI. Oh, yeah. I was hitting input here. It's not. We got to hit number search over here. All right, so that gives me my 1815 over here. So that's my X and my U. So I'm looking for AP Zulu, AP. So let's delete. So my AP Zulu for my X, my AP Zulu for my U. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to go up to the first one. I'm going to go 0, 0, and then I'm going to turn them back on. And then I'm going to restart the machine. Okay, so now the system is restarted, so let's turn our light on. We'll go to auto and let's hit reset. And it says button bar was activated, so let's see if we can get our servos energized. Sweet, so our servos stay on. So that is a very good sign. That means we can move forward from here. So now that I've zeroed out my X and my U motors with each other, so that way I can activate the servos, so I can turn them on, it allowed me to turn them on. However, it is not in the correct zero position. So just because I was able to fire up the servos, the motors are incorrect. It's an incorrect zero. So what I have to do now is I have to manually move this machine to the very corner to where the X0, Y0 position is, and I'm going to do that manually, but I'm going to put in this V-bit here. And the reason is just because it gives me a fine tip, so that way when I manually jog it with the help of my my CNC operator here, we can align it where the X and the Y, where the tip of this V-bit is right on the corner of the phenolic table, not the spoil board, the phenolic table. That's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try to do this without taking off the spoil board. However, you may have to, depending on, you know, what type of machine you have, your spoil board. If you're trying to re-zero manually, you know, you may have to remove any spoil boards that you have to access that phenolic table underneath. So that's what we're going to do. So let's give it a shot. Ready?
Yep.
Perfect. From here, I'm going to reset my X0, Y0 again on the hand pad. Alright, so now I'm going to simulate a pickup of tool 1 now that we're 0 to XY, and I'm going to stop it right before it picks it up, and we're going to see what we can do to align the tool holder. I'm slowing the machine way down. The gantry might be blocking it, but I'll move the camera here in a second. Really good in the Y, so it looks like this side might be okay, and then we're crashed into that far side. That's the side that moves. So we can see that I'm off. I'm off a little bit on this side, more than that other side. So I'm going to start seeing if I can bring this side in line. Hopefully it lines up on that other side. So we're going to move these screws. There's some screws here. All the way down there's 2 4, 6, 8 screws, I think, and so we got them loose. It's kind of lit. So we're gonna see if we can bring it in line. Alright, I got the one side down there aligned, so I'm going to swing the bridge or the spindle back across to this tool one side, and then we'll see where we're lined up over here. So I'll set the camera down. Alright, so it looks like I've got the tool holder in line on tool 1 and then all the way down to tool 12. Kind of the rule is, at least for any CNCs that have these linear tool racks, like if you can pick up one and you can pick up 12, or the farthest one down, generally you can get all the tools in between. So hopefully we're good. I'm going to tighten this toolbar down nice and tight, and then we're going to do a pick up on tool 1 and see where we land. So I got it picking up all the tools, and I'm pretty good in my X lined up down the tool rack, but I'm noticing that on my Y pickups for each tool I'm off a little bit, and it's causing a little bit of jerky motion when I'm picking up and putting the tool back. At a slow speed, when I got the machine slowed down, it doesn't really look all that apparent. However, when you speed the machine up to full speed, you will notice those misalignments pretty bad, and you're going to hear a lot of like clanking when it goes to put it back. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to go through and I've got to realign all the Y pickups for each tooling. I was trying to avoid that if I could, but it looks like I'm not going to be able to avoid that because ultimately I want that smooth you know, I want that smooth tool motion when it goes to pick it up and put it down. So I'm gonna go over how I have to set the Y values for my machine. It's gonna be very different depending on the machines, but on this the CR Onsrud 145M series, what I have, and if you've got the hand pad, this is you know what it's gonna look like. Alright, so what I did is I went to do a tool pickup on Y1, on my tool 1, and I me get here where it's a little easier too. I stopped it right before it picks it up. And so what I'm gonna do on my hand pad, which this is on some machines, this machine has a hand pad, not a console. I have this little wheel. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna very precisely move the tool into the tool manually to where it's a nice, smooth fit. And I'm you know, ideally you want someone holding that tool. If they feel any grinding of that, of the spindle head going down into it, you know, you want to kind of move it to where it's a nice, smooth descent into the tool holder. And then once I get it in the tool, I'm going to record that Y value, and then I'm going to update it in the macro. So I'm using on this one, it is, what's it called? It's the little wheel is what I know it as, but so kind of hold up, you can see. So I'm hitting my little wheel button, and right now I want it in the Y. So I'm going to hit the Y, and then I'm going to hit ×10 down here, and that's for the speed. And now, as I'm twisting this, I can get real precise movements out of the spindle head. And then once I get it lined up in the Y, I'm going to put it into the Z, and I'm going to go down into the tool holder. Now that I got it into the tool holder, I'm going to look around to the edges on the inside, make sure there's even space in between as I go down. So if I take the camera off here so you can see. All right, so I descended this into the tool, and I was very careful to watch. I don't want the tool to move in any direction. I want it to be pretty much stationary as that comes down into the tool. That's pretty good. It didn't move at all. And once I get that, then I have to make sure I'm on my true machine position, and under Y, this is the good Y coordinates that I have to use. So we're going to input this into the macro now. So to do that, what I need to do is I'm going to take my true Y position. So that's how we have relative, we have absolute, and actually I need to be my absolute. So these are your absolute positions. So I'm going to take that 6.8635, and I'm going to multiply that by the conversion factor of 25.4, and that's going to give me a value of 174.3329. So from here, I have to go into my system, and let's see, I think I got to go into my offset settings. Quick disclaimer before I keep going. This is only to give you an idea of what it takes if you know what you're doing to troubleshoot some of this stuff. You can mess up a lot of stuff. So if you don't know what you're doing, don't mess with anything that you don't know 100%. And so this is pretty much just for educational purposes to give you an idea. So my value, I have 904, which is going to be the X value all the way down the run, and that's going to be the same for all tools because my X value is in line, so all tools should be in line. So 905 is going to be my first Y value for tool 1, 906 is tool 2. So here I'm going to put 905, and we're going to number search. And I think I got to be in an MDI mode. 905. Got to have that off. 905. Oh. be in the macro settings. So right here, I'm going to hit macro. Now I'm going to search for my 905, and this is why it's critical. You got to know where you're searching. All right, you can see that my 905 is very close to the numbers that I have here, but it's a little different, and so I'm going to update that number with this number. And it's a good idea to write that number down on a piece of paper in case you mess up. Then you can always plug that back in and get to where you started. So I'm going to type in 174.3329, and that's and then I'm going to put input, and so you can see that that was highlighted, so that updated. Now if I come out of here, now when I go to do that tool 1 pickup, it should be relatively smooth. That only works for tool 1. I have to do that for all the tools down the line. And so, you know, it's important that you know the values that you're putting in, because the last thing you want to do is to get these numbers wrong, because your machine will listen to you. Whatever you put in, it's gonna execute those numbers. So let's go ahead and give this a shot and see if we can get tool 1 to be a little bit smoother on the pickup. Hopefully this is a little smoother. We're gonna go real slow. So that looks pretty good, so I'm going to speed it up a little bit on the foot back. Okay, so that was a whole lot smoother, and something to keep in mind too, if you get some weird tool wobble, your holders can get out of, you know, they can get worn over time too, and so that can be a factor that contributes to the wobble too. So you got to make sure that, you know, if you do see some of that, is it the machine or is it the tool holder, if you're using a tool holder that is similar to what I've got here. Okay, so now I've got to go through, I'm going to go through one by one, and I'm going to update all my, I got to feed that into each tool and then update my Y value and plug that into macro. And I just want to reiterate the X and Y numbers and why. X is one number, and then Y is individual for all the tools. So my X value, we get down here, my X value is the same for all these tools. So if you're finding that your X is lined up with tool 1 and then you travel it down to tool 12 and it's not in line, you cannot change those individual. Your X value needs to be the same. So that means that your toolbar is out of alignment from the head. That your X value needs to be the same all the way down, and that's why I had to manipulate this toolbar to get in line with my spindle head. So that has to be the same, and then your Y values are going to be individual for each tool. So that's an important concept. And then, you know, what you're trying to go for is you want tool 1 to pick up smooth and tool 12 to pick up smooth, and if those two pick up smooth, then you know you're pretty good all the way down on your X. And then if it's like my case where the Y's are off on each one, then once I got the X resolved, I can get the Y positions on each one. looks like I finally got it picking up all the tools smoothly. You know, you can probably see I don't even have all the tools in the slots, but I had to set the Y positions for all of them, and I finally got it going. So after kind of troubleshooting it, walking through it, I think I figured out what had happened. My CNC operator had said something about the bolts on the left side of the tool rack. He thought they might have been loose, and this is after the machine crashed itself, parking tool number 12. And so what I think happened is that somehow those got loose. I don't know how they got loose, but somehow they must have. At least that's what I think. And then when it went to go park tool number 12, it actually physically moved the tool rack back because those bolts were loose. And then that's where, you know, the machine shut down, gave me a crash error, and when we looked at it, we were out of alignment all the way down. So, you know, kind of a recap of what I did. You know, the first thing I did you know, I checked my alignment down the tool rack, and once I determined that was out of alignment, because it hit pretty hard, I was having problems with my servos turning on, and it gave me an error letting me know that my X and my U motors had come out of alignment. So I had to realign those motors and reset them, which caused me to lose my 0. So then I had to reset my table 0, my X and my Y, and then once I got that zeroed with that V-bit that you saw me in the corner, then I was able to bring that down to the tool rack and start figuring out how we needed to realign that tool rack. You know, there's different ways to go about it. If people have been doing CNC for a while, you know, you're kind of looking for the easiest, less destructive fix, because you don't want to create more problems for you. And so that's why I chose to try to get the tool rack back in line with the spindle head instead of trying to move the boom. See, you can loosen that bridge and start trying to get everything in line, but you know, you can find yourself in a huge bind real quick if you start moving too much around. So you want to kind of figure out what is the path of least resistance to getting the machine back in order. You know, I was pretty confident that it did not hit hard enough to throw off any of the table 0 or anything, or like move the gantry. So that's why I chose not to, like, you know, go down that route. So you know, and then once I was able to get that the tool rack in line on the X-axis with my spindle all the way down, you know, that's when I noticed that my Y values were off on each pickup. And so I had to go through in the FANUC individually and manually align those tools and then set it in the FANUC. It's very tedious. You know, but unfortunately, you know, that's kind of the life of a CNC operator. You know, if you're going to own these, especially if you're new or looking into it, you know, there's definitely you know, a time and a place when you want to make sure you have guidance. You know, you don't want to do anything that you don't know what you're doing, but you know, at the end of the day, you're responsible for the machine. No one's going to come. You know, the tech will sure come out there. They're just going to charge you a huge amount, and you're going to be down for a couple days. And so, you know, where I was able to fix this, you know, within a couple hours, you know, traditionally, you know, if you didn't know what you're doing, you know, you're on a tech, and ultimately they're going to have to fly somebody out here. So, you know, that's why I kind of wanted to go over this, because it's very daunting at first. You know, and by no means this is a guide. Like, do not follow what I do. Most machines, you know, they're similar in a lot of ways, but different machines are very different from each other. However, the troubleshooting approach is relatively similar no matter what machine, you know, you have. You've got a lot of moving parts, and they can get knocked out of alignment, and so, you know, sometimes you find yourself you know, having to realign it. And so that's, you know, something I had to deal with today, and I kind of wanted to document that, so that way if there's anyone else, you know, out there, they can kind of see what I do. And I have no idea if I'm doing it right or wrong or not. I'm not a tech. I'm just, you know, I have to do what I have to do to get these machines up and running. So You know, if you guys stuck around for this whole process, then I appreciate you watching this video. Let me know if there's anything, any questions that you want answered or anything I should have done differently. But yep, I think we're up and running, and we'll see you guys in the next video.